Level 39, Music Theory. I hope you've studied because we're about to have us a theory quiz, and all the questions will come from material learned from Level 1 to Level 39. If you have any trouble with a question, look off to the left side of the screen and you can see the level where the questions have come from. All right, well, there's a total of 21 questions. Good luck. The first 5 questions come from Level 9. And the first one is to name your open strings. I want you to name the letter and the number of the string, from top to bottom. Next, I want you to identify the string that I play. What string is this one here? What string is this? What about this one? And what string is this? You also want to identify the number as well as the name of the string. What about this one? And this one? And here? Our next question is 1 part B, and there you will see a list of string names. And I want you to go ahead and play the order of those strings, and I'll call them out for you. See if you can play them at this pace. A, 6E, D, G, B, 1E, G, D, 1E, A, B, G, and 6E. Question 2, I would like you to show me what a whole step looks like on your guitar. Question 3, I would like you to show me a half step on your guitar. What does that look like? Remember, these are all from Level 9. Question 4, I'm going to play a distance and you tell me if it's a whole step or a half step. So from here to here. Is that a whole step or is it a half step? What about from here to here? Just call them out as I play. From the open E string to the first fret. Is that a whole step or a half step? From the open E string to the second fret. Is that a whole step or a half step? From here to here. From here to here. Question number 5. I want you to write out the musical alphabet on paper. And I want you to do it twice in a row. So when you get to the letter G, what comes after that G? So if you spell it twice, you'll have to address that. Question 5A, I want you to put the distances between each of the letters within that musical alphabet. So you can use a letter W for a whole step between letters, and then a half symbol for a half step between those letters. Excellent work. Questions 6 through 10 come from Level 14. Question 6. Draw me a picture of a sharp on paper. And then on 6A, I want you to define what a sharp does. So what does a sharp do in music? Question 7. Draw me a picture of a flat on a piece of paper. And 7a is to define what a flat does in music. So what does a flat do? Question 8. I want you to write out the musical alphabet ascending using sharps. So you're going to put the sharp symbol between the letters where it's needed. Now keep in mind there are two areas where you will not need the sharp symbol. Question 9. I want you to write out the musical alphabet descending using flats. So you'll put a flat between the notes where they are needed. And once again, there are two areas in that musical alphabet where you do not need to put the flat symbol. Question 10. This note here is an A. If I raise that A by a half step, what do we call it? I'm going to go back to the A. If I lower it by a half step, what is the name of that note? This note here is a G. What if I raise it by a half step? What do we call that? And here's the G once again. And what do we call it when we lower it by a half step? Question 11. Between the frets 0 and 12, I want you to find the A note on each string. So each string will have at least one A note for you to identify. And I want you to be able to do this within 5 seconds per string. That's your goal, is to be able to identify each A note within 5 seconds of each other. Questions 12 through 18 come from level 18. And the first one is to identify the measure. So on this page, can you tell me what the measure is? You should be able to circle it on this page, or just point to the region of the measure. Question 13. What is a measure in music? What does it do? Question 14. What is the top number in 4/4 time signature? Question 15. I want you to point to the quarter note. Question 16. How many counts does a quarter note get in 4/4 time signature? Remember, all this is in level 18. Question 17. Identify the eighth note on the page. Question 18. How many counts does the eighth note get in 4/4 time signature? Once again, all these answers are found in level 18. Question 19 comes from level 25. And I'd like you to identify at least one C note on each string between the 0 and 12th fret. So each string will have one C. And I'd like you to do this with about 5 seconds between each note. So that's how quick I want you to get. That's your goal. Question 20 comes from level 35. And that's identifying the E notes. So between the 0 fret and the 12th fret, you should be able to identify at least one E note per string. And it should take you about 5 seconds per note. That's your goal. And finally, question number 21, which comes from level 37. Do you know the difference between a chord and an arpeggio? So whenever I play this D minor like this, what was that? Was that a chord or an arpeggio? And when I play a D minor like this, is that a chord or an arpeggio? Excellent work. And be sure to make this part of your updated practice routine in level 40. We need to get this into our long-term memory. It's going to serve as a launching pad for future theory levels.